Hello guys, welcome along to Let's Talk on OTI Media. My name is Colm Kelly. On this show we are trying to open the discussion about mental health and talk more about the issues involved in it, how to talk about it, what we should do. And on this edition we're going to talk about what to do next if you have opened up and talked about your mental health. You've decided to make that decision to talk to a friend, talk to, if it's your doctor, whatever it is. When you decide to talk, how to make that decision, and then of course what the next step is after that. On my show I'm joined by Justin Twell, and Justin, we've had his story and in one of these segments we've talked through his experience and how he's come out the other side of it now to be living a very happy life. So Justin, when we talk about what to do next after we make that decision to open up about our mental health, whether it's something small, whether it's something big, what then is the next step after making that decision? Obviously, we're going to talk to that person and we're going to open up those doors. What then is the next step following on from that?
I think it's just to keep going. I think if you're talking to one person, that's great. You've made that first step, that first initial step to, recovery or to stop this from getting worse. And you've already shown that you're confident enough to go to someone and say, hey, look, I've got this issue, what do you think I should do? Once you've done that, you should then be able to go to more people, so more friends, more family. I guess it depends on the severity. I mean, if you feel like it's getting worse, every day or every week, I think then at that point, you need to start thinking about professional help. I mean, it's good to speak to a friend or to speak to your partner or your parents or someone. But if the talking's great, and that's important because you've got over that first step. But if you feel like it's getting worse and you don't know how to stop it or why it's happening, I think then that's where professional help comes in. And there's a lot of it out there. And, the professional help that I got was, I would say, about 80% of the reason why, I made it out the other side. And I managed to get through it. It took a few years, but I managed to get through it and managed to sort of get my life back. So, yes, you've spoken to that one person and, they've taken it seriously and maybe you're talking every other day, how you going, how you feeling, etc. But try and then speak to more people. Try and speak to, if you've just spoken to your parents, then maybe go and speak to your partner or vice versa. Get those people that you trust and those people that are closest to you around you, on board with it. And that in turn increases the support from loved ones around you. And that's important. And again, don't be afraid of professional help because it's out there. It's what they're there for. It's what they're paid to do. And it is great. It really is great. I mean, that they know their stuff. And it was a huge help to me to get the professional help that I received. I was still on medication, but I was still getting that professional. I had a psychologist I would speak to every other day. And there was from memory, I think there's a panel of them. There was like 3 of them, and because just because I think of the severity of what I had. But it was a huge help to me. I may not afford it at the time, but when I think back to it, it was huge. So you've made that first initial contact with someone. You've told someone that you're having these problems. Try now, build that support basically, because people aren't going to know unless you tell them. So if you've told your partner, fantastic, you're on the right road. Yeah. Now maybe going to approach your mum or your dad or your best friend and get that support from the ones around you, because that's important. I never did that. I never spoke to them, so I didn't even know if they would even be there for me. I didn't even think they would be there for me. Whereas now I know that if I did, I know they would be there for me, and I wouldn't have got into the state that I got in. So I think it's important to try and expand your I guess your support network in a sense, insofar as you've gone from one person, now go speak to somebody else that's close to you, that you love and that they love you. And then of course you then need to perhaps start thinking about professional help if it is getting worse, and that's important as well, that the professional help is out there.
You mentioned as well, obviously, your situation. It isn't going to be, you talk and it's a flip of a switch and then, everything's perfect again. It is a process that will take time. And with yours, if you want to give a little bit of background into, how long it took for your process from the, getting the help until how you felt that you were confident in dealing with it. It's, it's not just that, like I talked and it's fixed. It's something that you have to work on over time.
Yeah, I mean, just throwing out some rough dates here. It was a long time ago, but for me, it started around sort of summer of 2002, so around sort of July time, and then it really ramped up. And my attempt at my life was, I believe it was around late September, early October that year. Now, it wasn't until 2005 where things started to get better for me. And I believe at the end of 2005 was when I moved from London to Cambridge, and I moved there to go live with my sister and my mum. And, 4 or 5 months after that, I got a job. And then at that point, I felt like, I was getting my life back. So, yeah, for me, it took a good 3 to 4 years before I was even in a place where my mental state was, I guess, normal, in the sense that, I was going out again. I was, I had a job. I got into a relationship with someone, loving relationship with someone else again, and just doing all those things. So it's a long process. It's a good point. You're not just going to, it's not a case of, and be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. It's not as easy as just going to talk to someone and then click, it's all fixed, because in all likelihood, it's not. That's just the first step. So, yeah, absolutely. It's a journey, and it's not a fun one. It's not a fun one, I believe me, but it's a journey, but it's one that's needed to get your mental health back to I guess normal, for whatever that is, and to just get on with your life and enjoy life as we all should.
Yeah, it is something that will be a long process. If you're watching and you need, you're making that decision to talk. But the thing is, it's a long process. But like you have seen Justin come out the far side, get married, have 2 wonderful kids. It does get out the far side and things do turn around. So the first step is that step of talking, of getting the help. And of course, like Justin mentioned, if you think you do need that help, make sure that you get it. There's so many ways. I'm recording this in Ireland. Justin is in Australia, and worldwide, there's just all the different ways and all the different governments or communities that have different mental health awareness campaigns, people to talk to. So all the main thing I would urge you to do is to, as simple as going on Google, seeing where the nearest clinic is to you, where the nearest practitioner is, and to be able to get that help if you do need it. The key is to start that talk and to get that help. And that's what we're trying to help promote here as we're talking on Let's Talk. This has been another edition of the show. We've got a series going, so do check them all out. And hopefully, if you are having any struggles, that this can help you to open those doors and help just in general to help promote talking about mental health, because it is something that is so vitally important. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hopefully it has been beneficial to you. My name is Colm Kelly. You can follow me on Twitter at Overtime Ireland. You can follow Justin on Twitter at JustinQuell78. And until we're back with another edition of the show, hit that subscribe button, and of course, have a good one.